choose to walk in the spirit is difficult, dealing with all of the ignorance. But in the Bible, it's still talking about the Bible. What is the benefit? Everything about you counterfeit. There ain't no rebuttal you can counter with. On the internet, you the master teacher. In real life, you powerless. Keep it real with you, I don't have time for this. I ride for this, my forefathers died for this. They cry for this opportunity presently I possess, and right now you are the opposite. If you walk in love, you fulfill the law. Don't get involved and you ain't giving it all. If you ever think it's cool to threaten another man's family, then you already lost. Chemtrails got aluminum, heavy metal saturate the atmosphere. Manhattan Project, time travel, Mandela effect, what happened here? GMO food processing to the whole world become obsolete. A black man who believes in Jesus got my own team taking shots at me. You trespassing on property that you don't fully understand properly. All the back and forth, that's not for me, that's for ROC and the war machine. If we ride together, then we ride together. If we can't do it, I'd rather leave. I still stand on the word of God till the day I die and no longer breathe. We trapped inside the diaspora, nightmares of the massacre. Cold sweat, I'm below deck, in the middle passage, just a passenger. Revolutionary hardcore, liberation, that's a hard job. You ain't ready, you a oddball, keep your mouth closed like lockjaw. I learned trying to bring people together on the same page, make them separate. All the talk about reconciliation, when the time come, you hesitate. If Jesus was able to sit at the table with a bunch of sinners, you very fake. Your steps ordered by the Lord, and how it was yesterday, your big mistake. We the city sitting on the hill. Guess it all depends on how you live. Guess it all depends on how you feel, and we both know that ain't God's will. I stood on what I felt was right, I don't never question if God's real. Trapped inside this matrix, I'm about to pop the red and the blue pill.
Bless them which persecute you, bless and curse not. Rejoice with them that do rejoice, and weep with them that weep. Be of the same mind one toward another. Mind not high things, but condescend to men of low estate. Be not wise in your own conceits. Recompense to no man evil for evil. Provide things honest in the sight of all men. If it be possible, as much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men. Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath. For it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, said the Lord. Therefore, if thine enemy hunger, feed him. If he thirst, give him drink. For in so doing thou shalt heap coals of fire on his head. Be not overcome of evil, but overcome evil with good. Romans 12:14-21.
Peace, peace, peace. What it is? It's your brother Tyvon Swainell, aka the Orthodox Moore, aka the Seven Pillar Service, and aka Brother Moore. It's been a while, family. But real quick, I wanted to not only wish y'all peace and blessings, but remind everybody that they should be going back to checking their 23andMe as much as possible, because they give updates all the time. I just got an update, and my uncle just got an update on our DNA right quick, and I wanted to show that to you right quick. This is going to be a real short, sweet video. Just point out a couple of things right quick. Bam. We should be all right here. Hopefully y'all can see this here. Just a quick 23andMe update. In my first 23andMe video, I showed, and in fact, let me just go ahead and go through here right quick. I showed my portion of Western Asian and North African DNA, and I also showed it in conjunction with my unassigned DNA. I talked in relation to my mother and her brother, etc., of where I get a lot of my North African DNA from, etc. I was noting that they get at least 5% in 23andMe, and I should get at least somewhere around at least 2%, right? And I was saying that in my first video that whenever my unassigned DNA starts to get shown or et cetera like that, it's probably going to start going into North African, light up the North African part, right? And it just so happens that in my update, they changed one of my trace DNAs from, I believe, like Bengali or something like that, like at 0.1%. They changed that to broadly Western Asian and North African. And with my uncle, I don't believe they changed anything, but they added Levantine at 0.1%. They might have changed something. I'm not certain on that one. But yeah, this is our comparison on 23andMe, etc. So with me now, that it is definitely lighting up the North African part, and also the broadly Western Asian, Middle Eastern part. So I talk about this all the time with 23andMe. Like, they're very, very sensitive when it comes to North Africa, in the sense where, like, they don't really put too much. It's hard to get DNA put in North Africa. Like my mom and my uncle are more than 5% North African, etc. Like, and even then, like, it was rough for them to get 5%, right? For me, like, they initially put like 0.5% Egyptian, and I was tripping on that because most people I know of African American descent, etc., they don't get North African to come up on 23andMe. I typically tell people, if you have a 23andMe, you should probably also take. I recommend 23andMe and Family Tree more often than not, because Family Tree you can also double check your haplogroups and whatnot, but they're better at showing DNA connected to North Africa. 23andMe, they'll do some stuff to where, like with Mali and Mauritania, they won't throw it in North Africa. Like, typically most places will throw Mauritania in North Africa, right? What's interesting here is that in 23andMe they put Mali and Mauritania in broadly Western Africa. So if you got that showing up in your DNA, it's most likely telling you it's coming from like Mali and Mauritania, etc., right? And other places will include Mauritania and parts of Mali and North Africa, right? So it's a real interesting mix here. But yeah, this is me. They're now starting to add on to my North African, Western Asian, Middle Eastern DNA, etc. And going on with my uncle, they added the Levantine part to it right quick. And so this is the part of the map that lights up for him. I like that picture in the background. It's dope. And so, being that this is a DNA comparison, they're telling me here, Tavon, we cannot detect any Levantine ancestry for your DNA at this time. And again, like I said, if and when more of my unassigned DNA gets assigned, you'll probably see it more in this direction towards the North African, Western Asian, Middle Eastern, etc. But it says here, the Levant, comprising modern-day Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, Israel, and Palestine, has been an artery of migration between Africa and Asia for over 100,000 years. By 2,500 years ago, the seafaring Phoenicians of the Central Levant, whose script gave rise to most modern alphabets, founded coastal colonies across the Mediterranean. In the centuries since the fall of Phoenicia to the First Persian Empire, the expansions of Islam and the Ottoman Empire have brought additional genetic diversity to the region. Today, though it is common throughout the Levant, this ancestry reaches the highest levels in Lebanon. And this is very consistent with my uncle and his father's genetics, in the sense to where they're EM34. They have Natufian DNA. So I would expect to see something like this coming from them. And what's interesting about that is they also adjusted his ancestry timeline. So his North African, Levantine, and Jewish DNA are his oldest on his timeline. And this is something I also say about 23andMe, where I try to remind people, 23andMe will only put Jewish DNA into the Ashkenazi Jewish box. It's the only Jewish DNA that they test for or that they will identify. So if you're curious about what type of DNA you have that can connect to different Jewish populations, I would highly suggest you take the Family Tree DNA test or the MyHeritage DNA test, because they're more sensitive when it comes to Jewish genetics, and they also test for more Jewish populations. For instance, Sephardic Maghrebi, Ethiopian Jewish, etc. And there's more, but they test for more Jewish groups than just Ashkenazi, etc. So in Family Tree, my uncle took that test as well. It confirmed his E1B1B status, etc. And also, instead of being Ashkenazi Jewish, because they tested for different types of Jewish populations, they put his into the Sephardic Maghrebi population. So combining the two here, they got the North African Levantine and the concept of his Sephardic Maghrebi Jewish being his oldest on the timeline, etc. For me, I don't think they changed my timeline, but I'm sure I snapped a picture of it anyway, just in case. And so same concept, like, so the Ashkenazi Jewish, I'm saying would be a Sephardic Maghreb, and the Egyptian, etc. Like, they link together. You can see to where like the North African and the Jewish stuff link together, etc., etc., etc. But yeah, I don't think anything changed on mine. Let's see, do I have anything more in here? No, I didn't. But yeah, that's all I wanted to show, family. Just a quick update. Reminding everybody to go check out their own 23andMe and check out, and particularly your trace ancestries as well, right? Go check for the updates and whatnot. But sometimes when it says new update, it won't let you know that you have an update within the trace ancestry. Sometimes you have to go straight to the trace ancestry. But with that, family, I also want to remind people that later on today on the Yap Gang Scholarship channel, of which there is a link down below to go subscribe if you like, we're going to be covering a response to Damon Richardson and what he had to say about genetics and DNA, etc. So please stay tuned for that. But like I said, family, this is going to be short and sweet. I pray y'all have a good rest of your weekend, etc. And with that, I say peace and love.
Let's debate. I ain't scared of none of y'all. I ain't backing up for none of y'all. Going in on every one of y'all. PowerPoint to Draco. I'm about to let 100 off. Let's debate. This where the stars shine bright. It's time to decide where your side of the line is. This is our life, so please be reminded. Everything you say, we will rewind it. Highlight your soundbite when we find it. Hindsight, your eyesight is not blinded. My life and timeline, a real diamond. To go find you someone to co-sign. It's on site, you low life with no light. And I don't write to go with your neck bow tight. And there's no light with every day they go by. And I don't mind being the guy that you don't like. In high demand, I supply the web. I'm a fly guy, no spider web. You see a flight of stairs, there's an idol there. They won't work for life, but they'll hire death. But I'd rather listen to my higher self. Meditate and take me to a higher realm. If the education board diagram give me funny feelings in my diaphragm. And the medication full of fire ants. Council culture, counsel your entire camp. Lead by example, they responding to me, reading every letter like an eye exam. My descendants sing entire hymns. My ideals cry from the highest tier. Drug addicts weeping, that's the highest tier. But there's a need for knowledge, that's when I appear. And they do not teach us in college. They make us an offer and see we compete with the scholars. But we are not bothered by mammon. It's all in the fan. Just imagine the famine affecting your family. Global pandemic infecting your family. Satellite image can't pick up humanity. Newer technology, purpose abolish the growing the flowers organically. This where the scientists intersect with desireness, intellect and the dialect. Like upgrade biotech. And we ain't even read your bio yet. You way up there nose bleeding. You done make it to the postseason. I beat you, it wasn't close neither. Now I'm back to hunt you like your old demon. Your entire premise worn out like old sneakers, blown out like old speakers, thrown out like old leaders. Pay attention what the soul teaches. Now that the price of gold cheaper, but the gold deeper this season, folks.